Hey guys, it's Bus Jockey. Today I have a problem where the turn signals are intermittently working. It keeps on popping this breaker here. It's a 25 amp circuit breaker here, and every time that it pops, it basically takes the power away from both of these flasher modules here. So then how it works, you get the feed here, it's 12 volts from the breaker. It goes down to two flasher modules, a main flasher module and an auxiliary flasher module. And what happens is, if something goes wrong with the main flasher module, the auxiliary will kick in, okay? So if it senses that it's not getting a turn signal input anymore from the status, either from right hand or left hand, Allen-Bradley PLC senses that, and when it doesn't sense it within a certain amount of time, it then goes to the auxiliary flasher module output from Allen-Bradley, and it turns on the output from there from Allen-Bradley, okay? And then your auxiliary works, okay? So that's how this system works in general. So problem is, this breaker keeps on popping, and what I did was to try to isolate the fault, figure out what side the circuit is on. I hooked up my picoscope. I made a jumper wire here to go into the fuse block with the breaker. I put an amp clamp around it, and then I basically hit the turn signal switch on the left and the right to look at the current and notice where the current was at, okay? Well, finally, after getting it warm enough and hot enough, I noticed that when I pushed on the left turn signal switch, my current went up excessively high, like it was over 20 amps, which is way too high. Normally, if everything's working properly, you're going to have at most like 2.3 to like 4 amps, okay? And whether you're pushing on the hazard indicator or the right hand turn signal, okay, for the foot switches, all right? So after I finally got it to act up and then getting it to pop this breaker, I just started taking off wires on the schematic. So the first one I did was I disconnected this junction here, XRR107 in the back. And if you look here, these wires here, that's XXR10 terminal 7. So I disconnected all three of those wires, and it still gave me excessive current on the scope. So then the next one I did is I started disconnecting these wires here in the side console, okay? And when I got to this wire here, DS21B, I disconnected it, the excessive current went away. And then I would take the wire to the terminal board here, and I would touch it and then let off, touch it, let off, and then it would show the current going up, and then I'd take it off and the current would go down. So the problem in this particular situation is it's this wire here for this light on the outside B axle to the curb, okay? So the B axle curb side turn signal lamp, okay? So that's the problem. The problem is a short to ground in this wire somewhere. So now the next thing that I have to do is I have to figure out where it is exactly, and I ended up going over here to look at the where the wiring's going, and what I noticed is the wires go through right here, this hole here for the B. This is the suspect harness that's in trouble. Well, it's going through here, and I haven't taken all apart and looked yet, but I'll keep everybody posted. But if you look here, the wire is underneath this metal frame here, this harness. So I'm wondering if my suspect problem is right here. So when I get back from break, I'm going to take this panel off. I'm going to inspect the harness in here and take a look and see what's going on. And another thing that I noticed too was when I had the connector disconnected outside and looking at the harness, I looked at the wiring schematic and it's hooked up to this harness for that light, and it's saying here that that's not supposed to be hooked up. Okay, so that tells me that this harness has been changed in the past and something's been done. So this is supposed to be what's hooked up right here, the one that I highlighted in yellow. Okay, DS21B. Okay, so that's my issue and I have to find it. So I'll keep everybody informed on what I find, and probably what I'll do next, I'll show my scope captures on looking at the turn signal current, and then I can explain my thought process and my logic behind doing it this way to find the problem, and then we can go from there. I'm not going to bother showing you the captures now because it gets all glary and everything and then no one can see. So the best way to do this is by doing the screen recording and then going over it with everybody, okay? So anyway, this is a method on what I do to find a short to ground, okay? Hope everyone enjoyed that, and have a good day. Thanks.